in the bag.
This is warm. It's good.
It's going to be 82 today. Is it? It's up in the pool last night.
Three times in the last year. One time.
Yeah, just.
Good morning. Thank you for coming out this morning. We've all witnessed the devastation to our small business owners, our Stony Point residents. Simply put, this project has been nothing but a nightmare. We've continually been misled that this project. Take a look behind us. This bridge. This bridge behind us was supposed to be open 2 months ago. It still has not reopened. This project has affected all of North Rockland, but the most devastating impact that we've witnessed is here in Stony Point. We have construction going on 6 days a week. It's been daytime, nighttime. Residents can't sleep. Businesses are suffering major losses. I've been speaking to the congressman, and our goal here is to fight and bring more state funding to support our businesses and our community. I'd like to invite up our Congressman Mike Lawler.
Good morning, and thank you all for being here. And thank you to Supervisor Monaghan and County Executive Day, as well as our first responders, our small business owners, and our residents who have joined us here today. We called this press conference for a simple reason. What is happening on Route 9W is unacceptable, it's dangerous, and it's a direct result of Albany's failure to plan and to lead. Over the last few months, we've watched the state-approved project, the Chippy transmission line, engage in a level of construction that has wreaked havoc in our community here. And anyone with common sense knows that you don't shut down a main thoroughfare and tell the residents and the small businesses to figure it out. And yet that's exactly what we've seen. If you talk to the business owners along 9W, businesses are losing 50 to 75% of their sales. Family shops that have served the community for decades are hanging by a thread. Chippy's so-called small business fund, about $150,000, doesn't even begin to cover the damage. It's not relief, It's an insult. Champlain Hudson Power Express must step up and do more for the North Rockland community and small businesses that are being impacted. Now, it's not just the small businesses paying the price. For weeks on end, 24 hours a day, residents have been woken up by jackhammers, backup alarms, and car horns from traffic backed up for blocks. Families can't sleep. Kids are late for school. Seniors can't get out of their driveways. And what's supposed to be a quiet Main Street community has become a construction zone that never stops. And it's affecting our emergency services too. First responder response times have been impacted. Fire, police, and EMS units are losing precious minutes trying to navigate closures and detours. Minutes that can mean the difference between life and death. Our firefighters and EMTs shouldn't have to gamble with time just to reach the people they're sworn to serve. Seniors and families are dodging 18-wheelers cutting through residential streets. Near misses happen every day at 9W and Lowland Hill Road. Truck drivers are moving cones and driving through one-way zones. Someone is going to get hurt if this continues unabated. Our first responders are fighting to reach emergencies safely and quickly while navigating a maze of closures, cones, and confusion. It's unacceptable. And just last week, we saw the cascading effects of this chaos after a water main break at East Main and 9W. Homeowners experienced sewage backups into their houses. They're pleading for help, filing claims, and being told to wait while the finger pointing starts. Meanwhile, repairs could cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. These are our neighbors, and they need help now. Let me be clear about the responsibility on this. Governor Hochul and Albany Democrats approved and scheduled this project. They own it. The state's job is to plan, coordinate, and protect local communities. Instead, they rubber-stamped, walked away, and left Stony Point and North Rockland to deal with the wreckage. Meanwhile, Chippy, towns, and landlords have all collected, or are slated to collect, millions in easements, community benefit funds, and pilot payments, while the small businesses that actually employ our neighbors have been left behind. Their storefronts sit behind cones and road closed signs. It's upside down, and it has to change. We in Congress must do our part. We need permitting reform, rules that require real coordination, streamline approvals, and prevent overlapping infrastructure projects from becoming future economic disasters. Projects like Chippy are essential, but they must be built responsibly, with local impact at the forefront, not as an afterthought. To the union laborers on site, I respect your work and always will. You deserve safe conditions and fair treatment, but you also deserve better planning from Albany. Don't let the state's failure pit neighbor against neighbor. Here's what must happen immediately. We have to stop working all hours of the day. It's common sense, and I'm calling for it today. Provide real relief. The $150,000 small business fund is a joke. We need a robust Chippy and state-backed emergency grant program for directly affected businesses that covers lost revenue, payroll, inventory, and fixed costs. 3, we must fix safety immediately. Restore two-way access where possible, deploy flaggers during peak hours, enforce detours to keep heavy trucks off residential roads, add high visibility crossings near senior destinations, and establish a dedicated hotline for emergency services. Every minute saved can save a life. 4, the governor must declare an economic disaster. The governor must do so that we can unlock federal relief tools, including SBA disaster assistance. If she truly cares about the small businesses and the residents, she'll do it this week. But let's be honest, Chippy will bring benefits to New York. But those benefits cannot come at the expense of North Rockland. This was supposed to be well managed. It hasn't been. Albany has failed, and North Rockland is paying the price. So to the media here today, I'm asking you to dig a little bit. Ask Governor Hochul and her state agencies who signed off on this. What traffic, safety, and economic studies were done, if any? What mitigation plans were promised and who failed to enforce them? And what coordination meetings, if any, were held before or during this work since it has begun? Our residents deserve answers, not excuses. So today, I call on Governor Hochul directly. End the chaos. Deliver real relief. Declare an economic disaster. And stand up for the people of North Rockland, for our small businesses, our residents, our union workers, and our first responders. With that, I'll now ask our county executive, Ed Day, to come up and say a few words.
Thank you, Congressman Lawler, and I want to thank you very much for putting this together. It's very important that we stand as one in facing this disaster we're encountering. I want to acknowledge our host, Supervisor Jim Monaghan. He and I both served in NYPD, and we have a sensitivity to this that was brought up by the Congressman also. You know, it's just amazing that we're here today in Halloween season, and I cannot help but understand the reality that this is a Gothic horror nightmare. There's no other way of putting it. It is unheard of. We were told that what this project was going to be like was taking an extension cord to Canada, from Canada to Lloyd's. That's what we were told. It's very, very thrown down very lightly, and it would not be a big deal. Well, guess what? It's a big deal. And this is the problem we have to encounter. Not only is it affecting our businesses here, we're standing with the businesses in North Rockland today, and with the team in North Rockland, but also let's understand this has been going on for a while and getting increasingly worse. Today, the day that there's not supposed to be any work being done, I took the Stony 9W up here to get to this press conference, and traffic was stopped dead at the overpass of the 9W. You just cannot make it. Right. 9 o'clock in the morning. The roadways, we think we should be in the roadways in horrible conditions down by the rock cut right by the border with Clarkstown. And we were told, and this goes to the comment that was made by Congressman, the roadway, the south roadway is ours and the north roadway is the DOT, the state DOT. That was the excuse we got. So when you hear the word coordination, that is not what is happening. There's no coordination whatsoever. You have this finger pointing back and forth at each other, saying it's not our job, not our problem, but meanwhile it's all of our problem. And this is not just something that's narrow to the county, the town, it's also the county. We're seeing the same losses obviously here because the business is closed and people are not selling their goods. Revenue drops all over the country. So this is a county-wide issue right now that has to be addressed. So I would certainly make it simple to leave here. I would ask the governor, or demand that the governor, follow up with the expectation and the plan of action that was laid out by the Congressman a while ago. But let's not forget something. This is why this is the state's responsibility. We all remember that Indian Point was closed after much yelling and screaming by our former governor, Governor Spitzer, and our former AG, Andrew Cuomo. They screamed and yelled, and we were telling them at the same time, make sure there's an alternative for losing the power at Indian Point. That was not adhered to. Nothing was done to ensure that there'd be a power supply being replaced when Indian Point was closed down. Well, here we are. What do you think happened with this project? This is directly connected to the fact that there's a need for power that Indian Point was supplying and now is no longer supplying. And that it would lay at the feet of the state and the feet of shipping. So with that, again, I want to express gratitude to all of you here today because it's something that's very important. It's for the people of North Rockland in particular. They need our help, and we need to stand together united, making it very clear to the state of New York, enough is enough. We want remediation for the damage that you have caused here in Rockland County. Thank you.
Stephanie Milowski to come up and say a few words on behalf of our small businesses here in Stony Point and North Rockland.
Thank you, Congressman Lawler and County Executive Ed Day and Supervisor Jim Monaghan. I'm Stephanie. I'm the current president of the North Rockland Chamber of Commerce. We are a 100% volunteer organization here to help the small businesses in our community, which goes from Stony Point to Haverstraw. The devastation that we've seen and the blight of the businesses since the construction closed down this bridge, and frankly, the construction had started 2 years ago, but the shutdown of this bridge and the work during the day is completely devastating. About 100 businesses on this corridor, and we've been hearing non-stop plights of these businesses that have had to cut hours, lay off employees, even shut down. And we've spoken with Chippy, and we've spoken with our elected officials, and while the amount of relief that was offered is appreciated, it is severely insufficient. $150,000 does not do anything for all the businesses that are affected here. We need effective leadership. We need our elected officials, we need the public utilities, we need everybody to come together and to see what's going on here. And with that leadership, we can get these small businesses the help that they need. We need our small businesses to conduct their businesses. They don't have time to come out here and to constantly yell and complain and have to do everybody else's job to get help. We need the help from our leaders, so that's what we're asking for, and that's why we're all here. I'm glad that everybody's here gathered today. We know that it's not easy, but this is the third of multiple conversations, public conversations and forums that we've had in this area, and we have gotten help. The Rockland Community Foundation has offered to help, and our elected officials have shown up, but we just need more. So we are here begging, pleading that everybody continue to speak out and to help get the relief that we so desperately need.
I just want to quickly commend the work that the North Rockland Chamber has done. We spoke here, and if I could just ask you if you could collect data from our small businesses, the actual financial impact that we're looking at for small businesses. When they first looked at $150,000, and up to $50,000, no way does it acceptable. We asked for $5 million, and to hear the numbers that I'm hearing from $5 million is not enough to compensate what has happened to our business.
Yeah, the data that we've collected over the past 2 months from the 100+ businesses in this corridor, we're about $10 million right now collected.
$10 million.
$10 million in lost revenue.
In lost revenue from 2024 to 2025.
Thank you, Stephanie. Well, that, just to conclude here, and then we'll open it up to press, accredited press. Look, to the county executive's point, the energy decisions that New York State has made has created a disaster within the state. The grid is dirtier today than it was 7 years ago when they shut down Indian Point. Everybody's utility bills have doubled, tripled, quadrupled over the last 5+ years. And critical projects like this, which when it was first designed was going to run straight down the Hudson. And then of course they responded to the concern about the sturgeon, so that we're going to move the line to the rail line. But then CSX wants to build a second track. And so they had to move it up to 9W. But the planning on this, the lack of foresight, the lack of thought that went into the direct impact it would have on the small businesses is shameful. And the failure on the part of the state and Chippy to make sure that there were critical support, financial support for the small businesses in particular is wrong. Now, there's a lot of money that has been spent on this project, and there's a lot of money that is flowing in and will flow in on tax basis with respect to the host communities. But the problem is that the businesses are not going to benefit from that. And in the immediate, this number, $10 million, is staggering. That is a staggering number of revenue loss for this community and for the small businesses that are here. And finally, again, the quality of life, the impact on our seniors, on our first responders, on our residents, on our school kids, the impact on traffic, tractor trailers running through residential neighborhoods. The state failed in its obligation here. The state failed in its responsibility to adequately plan and to execute on this project. And so Governor Hochul needs to act immediately, and she needs to act this week. With that, we'll open it up to questions from the press. Please state your name and which outlet you're with.
Hi, I'm Steve Berkeley. I'm not the press.
We're only taking press questions
Please,
right
can
now.
I just say a couple things?
And then I'll talk. Yeah. Yeah. So I had a conversation over the weekend with representatives involved in the project and laid out exactly why I think it's important for them to invest more when it comes to support for our businesses. We're going to be having a follow-up conversation on that, and we'll be pushing them further. But this is well, they understand there's a challenge here. They believe, obviously, on the totality of the project, they've put in a lot of money, and there will be a lot of benefits for the community. But as I said on a call with them, the fact is, in the immediate, the businesses are hurting, and that this was poorly contrived, poorly executed, and there really was not the level of support that is needed for the businesses. And so we're going to have further discussion on that. And I think, again, this is where the state needs to take some responsibility. This is a state-approved project. They need to be putting pressure